Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got some really choppy FMVs. We got some more MechAssault. And I gotta tell you, size always matters. Oh, dear, just make sure you have enough lubrication. And with a busted this big, I don't know, you can need at least 20 gallon drums for that. Oh, it's been some time since I've had the time to even do one of these. Smashy, smashy. Smashy, smashy. Oh, goddamn, ladies and gentlemen. That bloody... oh yeah, we got... Yeah, we got to kill the stealth mech. If I'm not mistaken, I died a crap ton of times. Oh yes. I'm sure she would be well versed in knowing how size matters. Wouldn't she? Oh yes, we can simp for the purple hair chick. Did he just kill himself? Unlike a certain someone. Oh, but Wolfenstein. One thing that kind of annoys me, it kind of irks me, ladies and gentlemen, is that I forgot to point out that General Zeta in Wolfenstein looks a lot like the Hogan's Heroes character, General Burkhalter, who is really gutty funny, by the way. There's a lot of Hogan's Heroes references in that game. I guess, like, Wolfenstein was meant to be like the last gasp of the World War II shooter. And, like, if you look at it like that, it is a perfect last gasp. I mean, you have, like, the guy from Indiana Jones. You got, you know, BJ looking a lot like, you know, Colonel Hogan and all the rest. Alas, there shall never be a game like that again. Really? There we go. Zappy, zappy.
Sir, we caught him napping. Punched
Yeah.
in that weakened wall section.
That was pretty weak. Maybe they should have used something that wasn't from, like, 1998. And Emperor Snake, things are as they always are. A lot of work, a lot of weary, but hey, bank account's happy, so I can't complain about that. And hello, Daniel Leland. COD 3. I actually did a...
Ambush. Oh, wait. Oh, it's just a cougar.
It's just a cougar. How can you be so dismissive? Random mission dude. Purple Death. Now Red Death. Red Death Redemption. You know, he made one fatal slip when he tried to match the Atlas with the... Never mind, that's just... Oh! Really? Now what am I supposed to do? Oh, just walk around the edge. Well, still. I can't help but be panicky. The mining technology is, kind of primitive. Just saying. Looks kind of primitive there with the whole, you know, bucket loaders and shit like that. You would think we'd have something a little better in this space future. Who is killing me? Hiding amongst the corpses of the dead, are you? Also, I'm really hurt, so I get the feeling I'm gonna have to restart this mission. I blame Colonel Klink. Because why not? But been recently reading a lot of Dawn of Fire, Avenging Sun. I'm almost finished with that book. That's a book I could have, like, completely crushed within a day, but due to having to work all the time along with everything else, it's taken me a week. But god damn, is that a good book. I'm quite fond of it because it actually has, you know, it actually has the shit that one would want to read about. You know, it's got epic Space Marine battles that aren't overly... They don't have a bunch of overly flowery descriptions. And I gotta say, I've always been quite fond of Rabute Gilliman. The old Big Booty Gilliman has been a character I've quite liked over the years. Mainly because, you know, he's one of the few relatable Primarchs. Whereas all the rest are just a little too... Baroque. Come on, blow up already, you bastard! I'm trying to fill in the lava pool, and this is not going too well. Probably doesn't matter, because I'm probably still gonna die. There we go. Or is that not gonna fill it up? I guess I must be immune to the lava, or I could just walk to the side. But yeah, I really like where Warhammer 40k is going at this point, because Warhammer 40k just kind of had like this bit of a holding pattern for a while, where not much was really happening. Like, it was just one or two regular little missions here and there, or like a whole planet would get lost to chaos. Nothing too serious was happening. but, you know, with Gathering Storm and the Fall of Cadia, I'm actually quite fond of that. I mean, Cadia is cool and all, but now shit is actually happening, and I really am glad they brought back Rabute. I think Dorn would have been too boring anyway. Give me all that sweet, whatever the hell that is.
Partygoers are running for it. Terminate as many as possible.
I'll terminate everything for you, my dear. I'm very pleased that 40K has not gone woke in any sense of the word. You know, you should have Beyond Visual Horizon, over horizon weapons, and yet you just find like point blank. It's about how I played that bloody helicopter game. I also want to thank the fan, whose name I can't remember, for recommending Hunt Down. That is a damn fine game. AAA may not be that great, but goddamn, India's really come a long way. Okay, what we want to do is we want to actually not just rush in and try to kill everything. Mainly because there's another Atlas. We need to actually use cover and concealment. Not that it's really easy to conceal a 50-ton or a 500-ton death machine. Just keep smashing your own. All right, he's got one of those little. I'm stuck on a wall. Damn, this is not a good idea. Okay, what we got to do is we need to get some shit in between us and everything else that's trying to kill us. Probably be. Oh, don't walk in the lava.
Sir, multiple mechs activating.
Yeah, I'm gonna die.
Let you play Godzilla much longer.
So we know that Godzilla still exists in the future. It's like Shin Godzilla 2. It's finally released. Okay, we need to try and do something slightly different, but this, I guess, is like the big final showdown. And I'm dead. I might as well not even try at this point. But you know what? We're gonna do it anyway. Because, like, there are just so many of these little bastards. There's the big one. Trying to use cover just as nuts. Hey, wait, he's actually trying to use cover, too. Let's just keep running and see how far we can get. Okay, so there's a lot of... I'm just going to use that to recon the area. So there's a shitload of turrets. Alright, let's see how far back we have to go. I think it's right back to the beginning of the mission. Back in the late 80s or early 90s. Stream should be pausing. I got green. No drop frames. And, in the late 80s, I was less than 1 year old, so, no, I was not a fan of 40K in the late 80s. In the early 90s, there was probably no way for me to know that it even existed. Yeah, the little stealth guy. So, I didn't get into 40K until 2004, I want to say, when I started playing Tau Fire Warrior. And then I started getting some of the books, and that's pretty much all I've really done is just play the games and read the books. Never really got a chance to play the tabletop game. Tabletop game's a bit expensive, to be honest. Like, the starter box is like $100 now. Whereas, you know, Battletech was $20. Also, I love the fact that we can blow open, like, the lava tubes. Yeah, your stealth's not gonna save you now. But there's one really epic scene in Avenging Sun. It's a bit of a spoiler, but I'm gonna spoil it anyway. Maybe this will inspire some of you to read it. So, there's like this chaos-corrupted captain of a chaos ship. That's a bit redundant, but you get the idea. That is literally this walking brass monster that has to face one of the Primaris Space Marines. And obviously the Primaris has a really cool line, but I just love the idea of like this, you know, this captain sells his soul to chaos and turns into this giant brass demon. It's like something out of fucking Doom.
Oh, it's just a cougar.
And there's a lot of really cool scenes in that. Like there's a planet that the Space Marines have to attack that's opening up warp rifts. And like I can already picture in my head, like an Astartes animation, along with the Doom theme just blasting out. I mean, there's a lot of really cool scenes in that. And there's a lot of 40K grimdark, if that's your thing. Like there's this scribe that wants to get this message to higher authorities. Unfortunately, by the time they get to it, like 500 other people have beat her to it. It's like, that's pretty grim. But I'll tell you this, if I lived in the 40K universe, I would not want to set foot within 5 light years of goddamn Terra. That sounds like the worst planet in the entire 40K series. Like Ketchin, or Ketchitan, or how the fuck you pronounce that. That sounds better than Terra, because like, holy crap. Like, Terra sounds like New York mixed with San Francisco. I mean, it is literally... Although, I don't think the streets are literally paved with human excrement, but it's almost as bad. Almost. Yeah, this is emulation. So far, this is the only game I can emulate. The others crash, but this is emulated pretty well so far. Now, for the streaming purposes, I'm only running this at 30 FPS due to my internet connection, but I'm actually playing this at 60. And it's been smooth so far, although we're close to the end of the game. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to just like hide up here. Like, we'll take the high ground. Just start on one target and work our way to others. Love how that helicopter just doesn't explode. I have no idea what I just did. Oh, he's still alive. Not for much longer. Yes, Terra is Earth. Old Earth. Okay, so in order to survive, we don't want to go in and aggro like everybody like we keep doing. Yeah, it's not like I play MMOs. I think Mech Warrior does have an MMO, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so what we need to do is just be very careful. I'm actually upscaling this from, you know, 40p to like 2K, and it looks really bloody good. Okay, there's a busted. Alright, so we're gonna back up. If we fight these guys like one at a time, there's no time limit, that'll work a lot better. It reminds me of a tactic that I used in Sins of a Solar Empire, which is not even remotely like this game, but it reminds me of it. Like, one of my ways of killing fleets in that game, I don't know if it works anymore, but using the Javelist frigates, I'd basically make a giant gun line and use those frigates to just go from one capital ship to the next. I was actually doing a 2v1 game years and years ago. I don't really do multiplayer anymore, but this was years and years ago, and there were 2 fleets attacking me. Wiped both out. It was really my finest hour, because I would just go from one capital ship to the next, and like it's very difficult to counter it because there's like 500 frigates, and most people just go cap ship heavy. All right, so here's that guy. So we've already taken out 2 of his little buddies. So what we need to do is we need to let him just walk over here slowly but surely. And hello, Ross dude. Have you ever played that 40K game on the 360? That's not just on the 360. That's a on PC as well. I reviewed that game a decade ago. It's on the channel. Just take a look at it. I actually got that game for free, believe it or not. The devs sent me a copy of the game. That's the only time that ever has happened, and it must have been the work of the Emperor. I was quite pleased to get that for free. I was going to pay for it anyway, but getting that for free, that's the only game to date that I've ever gotten for free from a developer. Hey, instead of running in and trying to kill everything, by actually using something approaching tactics, that apparently works. But I like shouting, "All glory to the first man to die!" But, well, seeing as how I'm the only man here, I probably would just die. Thank you. But I picked up a few games recently. I haven't had a chance to really play any of them, but I went ahead and picked them up anyway because they interested me. In addition to Hunt Down, also picked up Shadow Man.
Multiple mechs activating. Looks like they aren't gonna let you play Godzilla much longer.
I've just played like no seconds of it. I just wanted to get into the game to see if it worked. And it seems very interesting. I've had a number of fans mention it, but I've never actually looked at the universe. And I've wanted just a nice generic third-person kind of shooter. But I also discovered a game that I'm going to try to play. I'm really excited to play it. It's one of the few games I'm like super excited to play. Warhammer Chaos Bane, which is set shortly after the time of Magnus the Pious, which was the dude that stopped the Great War against Chaos. See, nobody knows what I'm talking about, but I don't give a fuck. It's a good setting. Too bad it got canceled because of low model sales. But it's just basically Diablo, but on PC. And I'm quite looking forward to play that. I played like 5 seconds of it, and I already like the combat. Yes, the Emperor does protect. All glory to the omniscient. Wait, no. There was one time, for a little while back when I was a teenager, I really wanted to waste the money and the skin to get the Adeptus Mechanicus symbol tattooed on my arm. As of age 32, I still have not gotten any tattoos, but that was the only one I ever really wanted to get. To show my true loyalty to the Adeptus. But now, at an older age, it's like, meh. The old Mephistopheles. That's another Atlas. The old Mephistopheles, because, yeah, I don't really see that as being worth it. Oh god, no! Oh, you mother... Oh crap, I am in dire need of help. I can't even see myself. Oh shit, I'm like under the lava. Really? And it works so good! Come on, come on, you can get out! You can do it! Yes! But now there's a full health at... Yep, dead. This is gonna be one of those levels, ladies and gentlemen. And I kinda love it, because I love it when games are just difficult enough to be really fun. I'm going to remember this level. Oh yes. Oh yes indeed. This reminds me a bit of the, of that one level in Predator Concrete Jungle. I've mentioned this before. Where they got fucking homing missiles. It took me like 3 hours to beat. This won't take me 3 hours to beat. I just kind of fucked up at the end there. Yeah. We already know. You know, this will make Silverwings happy since I can't quick save. Yeah, we'll show him. Yeah, size matters. Size of the robo dildo, but anyway. Blast him. Alright, we killed it. You know, I can see you. You're right there, you idiot. I still need a melee option just to punch that guy in the face. Because killing him all these times annoys me.
Sir, we caught him napping.
Yeah, caught him napping. How could I have forgotten? I've only heard this a million goddamn times. Yeah, it's a big waste, but what of it? Blast him. But I'm glad they finally moved the setting forward in 40K, because it was getting a little stale. You can only have the same story a million times. And I never really liked the whole grimdark aspect of 40K anyway. I mean, I get that that's literally in the name, the grim darkness of the far future, but 40K can do more than that. And, you know, instead of having, like, everybody die at the end, I never really liked that. Because I like stable characters. Oh, you better come back here. Got him. Boom! There's your bucket loader, you bastard. Give me all that sweet ammo. I like actual developed characters. But 40K is still a really good setting. I mean, like, in this last book, Dawn of Fire, I mean, that is... Dawn of Fire, Avenging Sun, definitely an Alpha Prime book. Hell, Guy Haley is an Alpha Prime fucking writer. He is that good. But, like, 40K, what other universe can you have science fiction battles mixed with fighting against hell? Okay, like, literally, in this book, they gotta fight demons. In spaceships. It's like the most epic thing ever. I mean, that's one of the things, like, okay, I'm getting a greater appreciation for MechAssault. I mean, not MechAssault, but Battletech. Like, Battletech literally cannot have a 50-foot demon fight one of these mechs. It can't do it, because there are no demons in this universe, other than human demons. It's like, that's just kind of limiting, you know? that fantasy aspect just really makes 40K stand out compared to a lot of others. Even compared to Star Wars in many respects. Although Star Wars tried to go that demon route, which it didn't work, and then, well, now we got what we got, so. Because don't forget, Abeloth was a thing, and that basically was a 40K demon. More or less.
The partygoers are running for it.
Yeah, partygoers. Blast them. Okay, we'll use that same tactic, but this time don't fall in the goddamn lava. Because falling in lava is bad, apparently. It scratches the paint, right? Blast him. Just blast him already. Yeah, he's on fire. Not the good way. Thermostat died on a 3-day weekend. Is emulation that different from OG hardware? And hello, question mark. There is no save states yet, because this is still a very early days for emulation for this particular platform. You gotta remember, this thing is emulating what is effectively a computer, because the Xbox was not just like basic console hardware. It's like a computer. Because the original thing for the the original name for like the Xbox was the Direct Xbox, which is kind of, actually that's not as bad a name as Xbox One. It's the one piece of entertainment device. It's the one entertainment device you need. Yeah. I beg to differ. Okay, come on, dude, fly over here. You can do it. I'm not going back over there because all your buddies are going to rush an attack. And I do not like that. Oh, but as of next week, I'm going to get back to work on some reviews, most notably on the comic Ant. I've mentioned this on a few occasions, but goddamn, it's not a good comic. I actually finally got a chance to start reading the original Spawn comic. It is definitely not what memes and TV shows would lead you to believe. Although there are some weird parts about Spawn the comic. Most notably, the addition of the Youngblood characters, because for those who haven't...
Multiple mechs activating. Looks like they aren't gonna let you play Godzilla much longer.
Okay, so we aggroed too many of them, but we should be okay. Because we can vaporize this guy pretty fast. We just shoot him with that, that'll knock him down and blow him up. Knock him down, beat him up. It's like, ooh, that... all I needed was like one salvo. But yeah, Youngblood is one of the most aggressively 90s concepts of all time. One of the biggest problems with Youngblood is just none of the characters are particularly likable. I really recommend looking at the Linkara reviews for those. But, you know, you have, like, Spawn. Spawn just doesn't really fit with the whole, like, 90s Image Comics thing. Because it really does have some really good writing, and it makes sense why. Because I got the second trade paperback, and, like, the writers for that, you know, you've got Neil Gaiman, you've got Frank Miller, and on top of that, Alan Moore, all those greats writing Spawn, and it really does show. Good writing means you can have good comics. Whatever next? Avenging Angel. Oh yeah, I've had so many people recommend to me Requiem Avenging Angel. The problem is, I finally did get that on GOG, but I can't get it to work quite right, so I kind of gave up on that a long time ago. Killed Al Simmons at the beginning. And yeah, Chapel. And it's like, I gotta say, despite Chapel being kind of goofy, it actually makes the whole murder of Al Simmons that much more emotional. I'm quite fond of that, because just making his murderer be the generic villain, because you don't even see, I can't remember his name now. You don't even really see the main bad guy until, like, I think Trade Paperback 3, which I have not read yet. And Chapel being, you know, like, Al Simmons' friend, I think that works really, really well in terms of drama. His drama is very important when it comes to these sorts of things. I really do recommend checking out Spawn. I mean, like, the artwork is absolutely beautiful. I think I gush about that in a playthrough video I've done, but haven't released yet. Because, like, I didn't really know what to expect from the actual Spawn comic, but I didn't expect that level of writing complexity. I think the only real issue with Spawn is the story goes a little slow at times. I think there's a little bit too much filler, but other than that, I really also like Spawn's first mission. Spawn doesn't even fight like the forces of hell in his first actual superhero mission. He has to kill a child murderer, which that was pretty hardcore for 1993. And just one of those things, like, Spawn, he's supposed to be like this dark anti-hero, but at least in his early comics, he's basically just hero classic. I mean, yeah, he does kill people, but he usually kills pretty despicable people. And actually, he's a pretty nice guy, even though he's, you know, a mutated hell Spawn. Because, like, when people fuck with him, it's like, look, I got problems, okay?
86er has fled. All combat forces have been dealt with.
Finally, we defeated that.
Continue to annoy me. I will personally deal with you soon. Your reckoning day comes.
Was it too much to ask that that lunatic was at the party?
Captain, we are en route to your current position. The Major has decided to bring the Icarus down right where you are.
Foster, let's try not to crash this time, eh?
The Major is really stupid, because why would you drop that giant dropship on lava? Let's see. Yes, I have played Perfect Dark.
We've obtained information that more suspected rebels are being made to work in factories reinforcing the word of Blake.
We can kill 2 birds with 1 stone by freeing the prisoners and destroying the factories. We're going to hot drop you in, sir. There are 2 outposts between you and the camp. Take their comm towers out, and as always, flatten any hostile troops.
Now we could Prometheus. Long range punch. Summoner. What's the summoner? Summoner can hold its own under all conditions. Timberwolf. Well, you know, I may hate the movie, but let's use the Prometheus. God, that was a crap film. I stand by my review 100%. Evidently there was a Japanese novelization. I have no idea if that helps or hurts, but like anything Prometheus related is shite. I'll tell you, that absolute crap that was the Fire and Stone series, by God, that was awful. Basically nothing happened other than just, I guess that's the modern day Aliens plot. What the hell is this? Whoa, what the hell is that? Oh my God, I think I'm in love. Although sadly it doesn't seem to hit very well. I might, okay, that doesn't actually home in. I should probably have just used the regular Atlas. Of course, I say that for every mech that I don't quite know how to use yet. No, this one's good. This one's good. This thing is a murder machine. Ooh, actually, can attack 2 targets at once? Sweet. But yeah, Prometheus, Fire, is it Fire and Stone? It's Fire and something. It was a comic series that was supposed to span both Alien and Predator and all the rest. And it was pretty awful. I mean, not much really happened other than crazy android kills everybody at the end. That was really the point of the whole plot, and it wasn't worth reading, I can tell you that. So if you get a chance to read it, don't. Run screaming in the other direction. Now, one thing I would not recommend run screaming in the other direction is Spawn, though. Because getting back on that, there is one other issue with Spawn that just popped into my head. There's an issue where, it's an issue inherent with most comics. Okay, he's just gonna stand there like an idiot. Okay, let's charge fully. Come on. Blast him! You, after all that, you missed? Ah, he's stuck in the lava. Dumbass. Blew his arm off. Come on, blew his leg off. Blew his other arm off. What are you gonna do? Kick me to death? He's got like a little tiny, like, pop gun. Both barrels, you bastard. Let's see, let's get a nerd culture. Well, I mean, there really is no such thing as nerd culture. That's one thing that I've always been kind of annoyed at. I mean, it's one of those things where we kind of just take that as though it's a real thing. Reading a comic book is not necessarily nerdy, you know? I don't even know if the concept of nerd culture...
Will lead you right to the outpost comm tower. Dust it.
I'm just not really sure if that's a real thing, or if it's something that everyone just kind of made up and agreed on as being a thing. Because really, why is reading Spawn nerdy? Why is playing this nerdy? You know? Just because someone said it was doesn't necessarily make it so. And so it's kind of like getting into anime. It's like anime is just a genre. Well, it's not even a genre. It's just an animation style. So it's like, I'd like to get into live action television. That could be literally anything. So it's like, don't look at it as nerd culture. Just watch whatever you want to watch. Read whatever you want to read. I mean, I think it was probably a bit overkill. That was major overkill right there. I mean, I guess when I personally think of nerd culture, I think of that being more of a negative thing. You know, it's where, when I think of like an actual nerd, like I know I've called myself a nerd, but the more I think about it, the more I realize, like, you know, maybe the actual act of being nerdy is like being like an asshole about certain things. Like maybe nerdy is more like being like, I hate to use the modern term gatekeeping, but I think that kind of applies. You know, the asshole's like, well, technically this wouldn't work because blah, 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 but actually means it. I like whatever that weapon is. Instead of just being able to have fun with it. Come on, blow him up, blow him up! Oh, it's so beautiful. It's like, how could this game not get a remaster? I mean, when Shadow Man gets a remaster, you know anything's possible. And I never even had heard of Shadow Man. But yeah, you know, don't look at things like Spawn or things of that nature like it's nerdy. Like, if you're gonna be like a dick about it, like, well, technically it's not... You know what I consider nerd culture, to be perfectly honest? I consider nerd culture something like somebody taking a colloquially known nerdy work and acting superior that they enjoy it. I had a friend once who acted so smug and superior because he was a fan of a writer named Cormac McCarthy. And to me, that's the real, like, toxic nerdy culture sort of thing. Cormac McCarthy did some work, I think he did The Road, some Western thing that guy would not shut up about, which is apparently so great. I kind of lump Cormac McCarthy with some of those comic writers who all the, I love the sound this fucking blaster makes. It's awesome. I kind of lump Cormac McCarthy. I think this guy is a little too powerful. It's very good for mech-on-mech combat, but for fighting the little bastards, it's just not that good. But I kind of lump Cormac McCarthy. I'm sure his work is great and all, but...
Reading a mech repair yard ahead. Should be some salvage for us.
Salvage? What is this? Red Faction? But I kind of lump old Cormac with, you know, like Warren Ellis and people like that, where it's like, and it's so intelligent, man. That's what I consider nerd culture. Where people feel like they're superior because they watch Star Trek or something, or because they don't watch Star Trek. It kind of goes both ways. That explains the fetish gear. So I blast him. Dude, your AI sucks. That's what you did. Oh, is it gonna blow it up? Well, hell. I'm glad the rocks just kind of fell into the ground. Because that happens. Let me see here. I agree. Loved your reviews from Doom Heretic Hexen. Back in the day, glad to see you're still around. Controversial. Predator is greater than aliens. Something. Force nerd. Negative thing. Don't country for old men. You're not too late, Turok. Just kind of got started. But, yeah, well, the thing about nerdiness, it's like being nerdy implies that you're different in some way from like the norm, but normal people like Star Trek.
Damaged. We caught them with their pants down.
Oh god, I don't want to see that. Or maybe she does. Oh my. That's a Timberwolf. Let's see, hold on. Let's charge up the cannon! Oh, come on! Just give me a little auto aim. Okay, let's just run. Hide me. Okay, let's just keep backing up. Fighting one guy at a time makes things a lot easier than getting team killed. Okay, this cannon is cool, but actually hitting anything with it? Yep, now I'm really hurt. My feelings, I'm like so triggered right now because that cannon just can't hit anything. I mean, this cannon's good, but that big cannon, it's like it has that big wind up. You think it's gonna be awesome, and then you miss. But like a tiny little bit. It's like, oh, come on, people. After all that, it didn't go in, it just impacted on the surface. Well, you're gonna have to clean that up. I think also when it comes to like nerd culture, it's where they take things way too seriously. Like a podcast I was in about 10 years ago, I still remember it because it was really traumatizing. Talking about goddamn Doctor Who and like the different TARDISes and things of that nature, and arguing about which one was good. It's like, oh god, people. That's what I consider nerdy. If you like science fiction and fantasy, you're just a regular person that likes science fiction and fantasy. You don't need a special nerd name for it. Purple death is always better than other death. I like how he's just stuck in the lava like an asshole. This does have good long-range firepower, but I don't know. My big problem is like that super epic awesome weapon of the Great Justice just doesn't work right. I think these are missiles. Because look at that. Doesn't seem to do that much more damage, and I'm still gonna die. No, that did kill him in one hit. I think I almost got a double kill. A monster kill, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's charge her up. Come on. Blast him. See, missed. Fucking missed. He's gonna kill me now. No, he's not. Oh man, I'm so hurt. I don't even have a health bar. I'm like on fire. The dude. The loader's been damaged. He can't concentrate. Oh, this is real game. Oh no, don't blow up! No! Well, I really appreciate it, Mark Lemieux, for that $10. That's awesome. But yeah, Cormac McCarthy, though, or all those dark, emo comics. I gotta tell you. Actually, let's go ahead and go back. I'm gonna use that regular one. I like that one a little bit more. That charge-up weapon just isn't that good. But I was thinking about those the other day for some reason. Where like, man, people just went nuts over some of those emo comics. And actually having read them, they're not that good. There's one really good one, though. One that I think is by far the best, and that's still a comic called Black Summer, where it actually has proper writing and proper things. Going back to Spawn for a moment, because I actually forgot to mention this. One of the things I like about Spawn is it doesn't have that ultra violence that comics circa 2005 started to have, and pretty much most comics today have. It's like, Spawn killed the shit out of somebody, but you don't actually see the guts flying and everything, and I think it made Spawn a much more scary character for it. And for, like, one of the early dark comics, Spawn really wasn't that dark. It actually could have some humor to it, believe it or not. I mean, when even the modern-day incarnation of the Tick is overly dark, you got problems. I mean, really? The Tick? I didn't even know there was an Amazon series based upon the Tick until I discovered it randomly. You got people getting chopped up, you got people getting killed. It's like, wait a minute, I thought the Tick was supposed to be a comedy. It's like, that is not a good move. Not a good move. But then again, well, it is Amazon after all. They can't win them all. You know, like geek, nerd, stuff like that. I think that's just, honestly, I think those terms were unnecessary. They were used to be derogatory at one time, but now I just think they're a bit obsolete. I guess the best example is like, you know, my mother, who wouldn't be, by modern definitions, be considered, you know, like a geek or a nerd or whatever, was a major league fan of like all the major modern day, or not modern day, but of all the major geeky franchises. Like, she's the one that got me into Star Wars, Star Trek, you know, Ghostbusters, Monty Python, like, you name it, she's the one who got me into it. And this is not a person that you would really consider nerdy by any sort of modern day definition. And so, looking at that, and looking at, you know, other people I've known throughout my life, it's like, I think those terms are now just kind of like unnecessary, if they were even necessary to begin with. Because, you know, people like Star Trek that weren't, you know, that wouldn't wear the Spock ears, but enjoyed the show for what it was. You know? So, whether or not geek or nerd is useful, I don't think it is. But if you want to keep using it, I don't have a problem with it. I will give my permission for that to still be used. I think it's just one of those things that just is sort of inherently dividing. But then again, there are some people that you can definitely define as, you know, geeky or nerdy. And not necessarily in a good way. You know, once again, the people arguing about the TARDIS and getting mad to the point where they're shouting at other people. That, I think, could be like a geek or a nerd, you know, somebody that takes this stuff way too seriously. But then again, that's a good question. Maybe I don't have an answer for that. Because the more I think about it, it's like, okay, maybe, but then again, what's too seriously? Because, like, for me, you know, maybe you like, maybe if you were to look at geek or nerd in, like, a negative context, like, this is somebody who takes stuff way beyond the realm of reality, I guess you could look at that as, like, where some of this stuff with pop culture, it goes beyond a healthy level. Like, for example, instead of, like, eating for a week, they spend, like, $1,000 on a costume to wear. You know, there you go, something like that. Where is that little bastard? I just got shot by a railgun. See, there you go. That's a geek or a nerd. It's like, seriously, who gives a fuck if you like Tom Clancy as much as Stephen King? But there are people like that. I personally have only met a few, and I've never really been friends with any people like that because, well, except for the dude that liked Cormac McCarthy, but he was okay. He wasn't that much of a dick. But yeah, it's like, there are people who will simp for Stephen King to no end. And I still say Stephen King sucks. I said it. And I'll always say it. I've read his shit, and it wasn't good. Did I die? I must have. My brain must be tired. But my brain's always tired. So yeah, going back to that after I kind of rambled a bit. Geek culture. I would actually say it's just regular culture, and I would say that geek or nerd is where you can classify someone as, you know, I guess you could almost say it as sort of like a Western version of a weeb or a, what's that other one? Weeb is like the bad one, I think. Like the super crazy one, whereas, otaku, that's like the kind of normal one for anime. So let's just say that nerd is like the kind of normal one. You know, they might complain, well, technically, you know, Stephen King is much better than, Dean Koontz, but I guess I will allow it if that's what you like. Whereas a geek is somebody who would just start screaming, no, Stephen King is way better. There you go. Otherwise, if you're not either one of those, like whatever you like, play whatever you play. If you want to get into, like, comics, You know, start with the classics, like the 1970s of Batman. That's where all the famous stories come from anyways, the 70s. Most notably the one where Batman fights, oh, that's one of the things I'm going to mention in my Ant review, is like, there's a lot of discussion about whether or not women should have, you know, like, be overly sexy in comics. And you know what? I would say there is a discussion to be had about that. And that discussion is, if Batman is going to be fucking ripped and fighting Ra's al Ghul shirtless, then no one should complain about a chick pulling a curvaceous pose. Because you know what? Both males and females like to ogle the opposite sex. And people be ogling both Batman and Spider-Man all the time. So why can't we ogle Batwoman? Well, maybe not necessarily Batwoman, more like Batgirl. You know? Why can't we ogle them if they can ogle us? That's the thing. It's like, if we're gonna have true equality, and people have been ogling, you know, Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, longer than they've been with a lot of the female superheroes, so, yeah. I'm just saying. And let's face it, it's not like Captain Picard is a dumpy middle-aged man. You know, chicks have always found Captain Picard sexy. It's also kind of like, you know, the female audience members will ogle Sean Connery, and the male audience members will, you know, ogle the Bond girls. It's like, it's only fair. You know, if you can have, you know, Batman be ripped as fuck, you can have a well-endowed female, because it's only fair. You know, I hate to admit it, but I used to be one of those people where, what was that? If they don't like something popular, I used to hate popular stuff just on principle. I used to say things like, that stuff is only popular because people say it's popular. I actually have long since gotten better about that, but I remember I had this, argument that really was pretty bullshitty about, Ender's Game. I was saying how bad Ender's Game was, despite not having ever read the book. I was like, it's only popular because people say it's popular. I stopped doing that, because that is pretty bullshit, you know. Because Ender's Game is actually pretty good, but I was like, it's only popular because people say it's popular, and if you like it, if you just like popular media, it's like, yeah, that's... I will admit, I'm not perfect. I'm a flawed human being as anyone. I had a lot of flaws for a lot of times, and still do. Oh man, that guy's gonna... Oh! Totally dodged. Sick dodge. That's a lot of Timberwolves. Got him!
Let's free those civilians, get out of here, and find Ragnarok. Com Tower 2, marked and on radar.
You know, I totally planned to have that thing blow up and then have all that rock fall down, because I'm awesome. I wonder how many people notice in reviews, see me fucking chugging water while I'm talking about something serious. Let's see. You know, that's one of those interesting aspects of, can you separate the art from the artist? Because, like, I almost said Glenn Cook, but that's not Glenn Cook. I don't remember who wrote Ender's Game at the moment. See, it's the problem. I can't remember all these random names like I used to, because, like, I get no sleep these days. But hey, once again, bank account is very, very happy. And that makes me very happy, too. Let's see, but... Oh, who wrote that? I know who wrote it, because I read one of his books long before Ender's Game even came on my radar. Oh, what is his name? Well, whatever the hell that guy's name is, I read one of his books back in 2008, which I will admit, it was one of those things where it was very overly political. It was called Empire, where basically Antifa somehow got an army of battle mechs I don't think they would even know how to control those. But yeah, where Antifa got an army of battle mechs and took over New York City. All I can say is they are welcome to it. But there's a few other things where like the I think like the Republican guy was like gonna turn the U.S. into a dictatorship.
Watch yourself.
It was actually a bit much. Bombers, no! Never fear, the Air Corps is here, huh? I don't really know what the... If I could remember the guy's name, I don't remember what the Ender's Game controversy was. But I do know there was one. Oh man, I cannot remember that guy's name. Orson Scott Card! Yeah, oh wait, was he the guy who like... I can't remember what he did now. Oh, the fact, I can't remember an obscure fact about a writer whose books I haven't read in over 10 years, but the controversy that's probably even older than that. I can't remember. My brain is going down. I don't know, but a lot of writers have a lot of controversy. It's one of those things where you can, if you can separate the art from the artist, that's probably for the best, but sometimes it's hard to do. You know, kind of like Marina Stirtis, you know, saying that Trump voters shouldn't watch Star Trek, you know. Do you stop watching TNG because one asshole said something stupid? It's just one of those things. Or like YouTubers, like the Spoony one. You know, he basically became completely insane with the election of Orange Man. It's like, do I stop watching his videos because he says a bunch of insane stuff on Twitter? It's like, eh. That's one of those things where I think it's a case-by-case basis and person-by-person. If you can, you know, separate the art from the artist, good. If you can't, I can understand. Because it is kind of hard at times, depending on what some of these crazy people say. I mean, I still like The Mandalorian, despite Pedro Pascal saying a bunch of stupid shit on Twitter. But then like, you know, bands that I used to listen to, like, Rage Against the Machine. I used to be quite fond of them in the early 2000s, but, you know, them being a bunch of hypocritical bastards, you know, now it's kind of like, do I really want to listen to their music? Even though they're not really getting any money from me, because I still have the one CD I bought back in 2002. What the hell's going on here? Why can't I walk forward? Oh, please don't tell me there's a... Don't tell me I'm stuck. No, but it looks like there's some kind of invisible... No, there we go. Oh, homophobic. I'm not surprised. Because he's probably of that age. It just depends on what he said, though. Because you have to be careful with that, because the Sejubs will say, like, oh, it was homophobic, even though he said, like, I don't even know what.
Sir, to clear the way for the prisoners, the turret's ahead.
Other people with hipster mentality.
Need to be destroyed. I've never seen so many fixed defenses in one place. Are they pointed the wrong way?
Dude, I don't know. Maybe they are pointed the wrong way, but they're still shooting at me! Maybe you can airdrop me some health? That's one of the more interesting things, like, you know...
Mech Warrior, you should be able to see the camp from where you are. Sir, looks like a very light guard force. Should be cake.
It's literally one dude with a missile launcher. And thanks for sticking me in that cutscene so I'm getting blasted by literally everything. Okay, there we go. Let's just try to actually use some ranged firepower here. So, like, Orson Scott Card, I guess he's political. But I suppose his books really aren't. I would need to read, I know Empire was pretty political from what I remember. Even by my standards. But I really dislike John Ringo, even though technically he's supposed to not be... He's not woke, but his political concepts, in my mind, are just way too psychotic. Because he really dislikes old people, despite being old. And he likes to write a lot of, shall we say, Epstein-age females getting together with his Gary Stu characters. I'm not joking. And that's what I call consistency. See, right now I'm getting quiet because I'm like trying not to die. I'm so glad I have this bloody thing. Because if I had that giant missile that hits nothing... And yeah, how far do you want to take it? It's actually kind of funny, like The Simpsons, that's the kind of political satire that I like, because they lampooned everything and did it not necessarily as mean-spirited as they could have. Especially considering that Matt Groening did go to Greenville College. And for those who don't know anything about that controversy, thank whatever god you may or may not believe in that you don't know what that is. Okay, give me all that sweet, sweet health. I like how that opens the gate. Seems like a pretty poor design.
Something
Squish.
is wrong. I'm not picking up any signs of the prisoners. And why is there only one guard?
It's a tarb!
Mercenaries. All it took is civilians to lure you here. You are weak. Incoming dropship. It's hot dropping a mech.
Captain, deal with this and return ASAP. We need to pay this butcher back.
Please begin playing Sabaton. Check the chat real quick. Favorite authors right now. Let's see. Larry Correa, Guy Haley, Christopher G. Nuttall, although be very careful with his books. I swear, there was a time when he was like extra emo, and his emo era books are some of the most depressing crap you could ever read. I actually had to give up on one of his emo era books. Let's see, what other books am I reading at the moment? That's the three writers that are can come off the top of my head. I really recommend reading the Monster Hunter International book series if you want just cool dudes shooting people in face. Well, not shooting people, but shooting monsters in face, I should say.
Yourself. The dropship's returning and it's hot dropping another mech.
Why not drop them all at once? Yeah, The Daily Show. Man, I remember that show. I actually watched that back in the day. Because believe it or not, I actually did watch stuff from both sides of the aisle back when you could do that. And Daily Show I quite liked because they would point out stuff that their side did. And I remember this because there was a friend of a friend who was like, you know, The Daily Show is lying. That side would never do that. It's like, yeah, sure. Way to show consistency. It's actually kind of funny that Jon Stewart was an actor before he became a political commentator. The one film of his that I always will remember is The Faculty, where he played a teacher who got stabbed in the eye because he was possessed by foul Xenos. To slay is to pray. Yeah, Christopher Nuttall can write some pretty good shit. I've reviewed a couple of his books. I really recommend Task Force Omega. It's like The Boys, only not so emo. This was after his emo period must have ended. And it actually has a pretty happy enough ending. Has some pretty nice characters. And instead of the Homelander XP being evil, it's where this guy wants to be good, but by being good, he's basically sort of the evil, blast him. The evil paladin concept.
Savor your victory, mercenary. I will personally assure your death and all those on this planet.
Captain,
Everybody?
return to the Icarus. We need to settle this. And shut Strader up. Ragnarok or no.
I just find it funny. I was like, okay, so he wants to kill everybody on the planet. Why not just drop rocks? All right. Well, we've only gone about an hour.
Seems that all Word of Blake forces are in full retreat.
Oh.
For all his big talk, it looks like Strader and his boys are all running. Better yet, his second-in-command is moving through our sector to a major base for evac. So be guarded. Just get him. To ambush him, you're gonna need to move fast with a jump-capable mech, like a Thor or Summoner.
It won't be easy since they'll be moving in a tight group. Let's get this guy. Payback, baby.
You know, the audio glitch that just happened made it sound like she was going like, it's like, really? Very, very professional there, purple-haired babe. But in any event, ladies and gentlemen, I have no idea how long this level is going to go, and I'm already feeling a bit tired. So fatigued from overwork. So I'm afraid everyone will have to wait until next week for us to get some payback. But I gotta say, this game's still damn good. And I'm gonna wish you good more MechAssault, good more Larry Correa, or whatever makes you happy.